Candidate forums this week.
Yeah, we start with the Thief River Falls School District. 2 days of interviews or forums with candidates who have expressed interest to represent the Thief River Falls School District on our local board. Today, 4 candidates who are vying for 3 open positions on the Board of Education, and we're going to give them an opportunity to introduce who they are. Joining us this afternoon are Lindsay Gregory, John Sievertson, Jared Kynes, and Luke Stables, who are the 4 candidates for the 3 positions. And Lindsay Gregory will be first up to tell us a little bit about who you are and just give us a little idea who Lindsay is.
My name is Lindsay Gregory. I moved here in 2007. Right out of high school, I applied at DigiKey and got hired on there. I am married. I have 4 children whose ages are 13, 11, 4, and 2. And I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, good. So, again, 4 children and 3 of them already in the school district.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you, Lindsay, for that introduction. John Sievertson, who is currently on the Board of Education, has been for the last year, I guess,
yep.
filling out the year. So,
Yep.
John, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I'd like to first thank KTRF for putting this on and hosting this forum. My name is John Sievertson. I'm seeking to be reelected as director of Thief River Falls Public Schools. I am and have been a banker for 18 years, and I'm currently proud to serve as a vice president at Northern State Bank. My amazing wife, Tanya, has dedicated the past 15 years to education and is currently an assistant director of special education at Area Special Education Cooperative. Our 2 children, Jude and Nora, are my greatest inspiration. They push me to strive for more. They motivate me to invest my energy into making our community and our district in Thief River Falls a place they'll always be proud to call home. I had the honor of being appointed at Thief River Falls School Board last year. It's been a privilege to serve our community in this role. Since moving here 13 years ago, I've worked to fully immerse myself in the community, joining several boards and committees. However, none of these roles are as meaningful to me as serving as director on Thief River Falls School Board. I'm deeply passionate about ensuring that Thief River Falls is a place where every child has the opportunity to thrive.
All right. Thank you, John Sievertson, with his introduction. Jared Kynes joins us this afternoon. Good afternoon, Jared.
Good afternoon. Yes, as you said, my name is Jared. I grew up in Thief River Falls. I moved away for a time. Been back now for 5 years. We moved back. My wife is a teacher at Challenger. We moved back when our daughter was going to start kindergarten. Isabel is now in 5th grade, and my son Jack is in 2nd grade at Challenger. Those are 2 of the reasons that I'm interested in running for school board. Professionally, I'm a school-based therapist, and I work out in Goodrich and Grigglis schools providing mental health therapy. And I've worked in 4 different school districts within the state of Minnesota and kind of seen the ins and outs of what works, what doesn't work. And I'm happy to be back. Like I said, it's been 5 years. Eventually, I'll live on the family farm when that time comes. My parents aren't quite ready to move into town yet, but.
All right. Good. Thank you, Jared. And Luke Stables, the final of our 4 candidates. Luke, good afternoon.
Well, thank you so much, Bob and Terry, for allowing us to share a little bit about why we're doing this. For those of you who don't know me, I'm also known as Mr. Skittles in the public school system. So if you have any kids in there, you might know me by that. I have 4 amazing children and been married to my wife, Katie, for 23 years. Again, I currently substitute teach at Thief River Falls Public Schools. I coach at Great North Fitness and Adventure, and I volunteer with student ministries in the community. And I've been lead pastor at Nexus Church here in town for the past 10 years. So I found my passion for kids ministry way back 23 years ago when my wife and I were first married. So I just kind of keep plugging away with kids, and I think this is such an amazing opportunity to help our public schools out right now and where we're at. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you, Luke. So those are the 4 candidates. Again, voters will be electing 3 of the 4, and we'll have an opportunity to dive a little deeper into and many of them alluded a little bit to why they're running, but that is our next question, really. What prompted you at this time to run for a seat on the school board? And Lindsay, you're up first.
What prompted me to run for school board was 2 years ago. All those fights broke out in the middle school, and My daughter had just gone in there from Challenger, and I was one of those parents that, didn't do any research and just started instantly blaming the school. Well, with working with the superintendent at that time, I have actually learned a lot about how things work and how things have to go, and I just want to continue to learn and help educate everybody else on how things actually have to go instead of just, if something bad happens, it's the teacher's fault or the principal's.
Good. Anything else you'd like to add to that, or is that pretty much the driving influence that got you to throw your hand in the ring?
I'm just really interested in how it all works. It's been very educational this far on all the stuff I have learned, and it challenges me, and so I don't just sit on my butt at home because I'm a stay-at-home mom. All
right. Thank you. Lindsay Gregory with her views. John, you ran your last cycle and were appointed. So what's prompted you?
Yeah, well, I want to continue to serve on the board because I want to help ensure that students come out of the district thriving. I feel the best way we can do that is to give our teachers and staff the support they need to do what they do best, which is guiding and teaching our children. I unfortunately was part of approving the cutting of 10 staff members along with other reductions in February, and that was really, really difficult. It hurt me to cut so many good people who impact students each and every day. I have no desire to go through that again. I want to work in getting funding into our district. I do, however, want to make sure that regardless of the funding situation, our kids will still succeed. This is primarily due to the excellent staff we have in Thief River Falls. The people are the number one asset of our district and should be treated as such.
All right, thank you. Jared Kynes, you're next. What was your driving force to throw your hat in the ring?
Well, interestingly enough, all four of us went through that interview process when John got onto the board. At that point in time, it was more or less I had some time and availability to give back to the school that gave me so much. In the time from that until now, the right sizing that Dr. Chris Mills has talked about in regards to the declining enrollment, which he is seeing as a statewide issue, it's certainly impacting Thief River Falls, and it will continue to with not having as many kids enrolling for the lack of kids being born, kids going out of district, kids going online. So in that right sizing, there's going to be some hard decisions. John talked about having to cut those positions. I want a voice in the room and a seat at the table during that time. Because the cuts, if they happen, are going to be dramatic, and they're going to impact every single student that comes into the buildings. It's going to impact every single staff member as well.
All right, thank you. Luke?
Well, I get the pleasure of seeing what it is like to be in our schools, and that's really what drove me. I've always believed in kids as not future leaders, but they are leaders today, and I want to build into them. And being on the grounds in the schools, I know what works and what doesn't work, and I want to bring that to the school board as well. And again, be fiscally responsible in doing what we need to do to make sure that our money's going properly. But I want to support the teachers the best I can and the students the best I can. So
all right.
That is my why.
Thank you very much. Luke Stavis with his response. We have to talk about the referendum. It has been a hot topic for a couple of election cycles. It is a little bit different question this time to voters. So, Lindsay, we'll start with you. Do you support the referendum? If so, why? If not, why?
I absolutely do. And it's not because I have any personal gain or anything to come up about it passing. We all are going to have to end up paying higher taxes. The main reason why I support it is because we want to keep the good people, the good teachers that we have now here. We don't want them to go over here or over there because the pay is better or the benefits are better. We want them here, and we want to be able to maintain all the technology and the buildings and grounds that we do now. Otherwise, if the referendum doesn't pass, we're going to have to start cutting into that and looking at cutting like special education teachers and paras. And there's such a wonderful group of people. We need all of them we can get.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay Gregory. John Sievertson, your response to the referendum question.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely support the referendum, and I do think it's more than just students and staff. It's a community thing. It's something I've been asked, why should I support it if I don't have kids in the district? And I say, well, who are your employees? Are they high school kids? We want to make sure they have the best education as well. Or maybe they don't go to our school, but you know what? Their classmates, the kids in dance with them, they're affected by it too. So it's more of a community thing than just the school. But of course, we want to care about the students we have in our school as well, and that's going to impact them a lot if this doesn't get passed. One thing to think about is that what we're asking for isn't everything we need, but we needed to get something passed for this district because operating on zero referendum isn't an option anymore.
All right, thank you. Jared Kynes, your response.
Well, it shouldn't come as any surprise that I do support the referendum. Absolutely do. I've met with community members, I've met with family members and talked about the impact that it can make if we don't pass the referendum, as well as the tax impact if we do pass the referendum. There's a tool that you can go on and you can put in your property number and it'll tell you what your taxes will be for this operating referendum. And it's very much different than a bond referendum. It's only on your house and 1 acre of land if you live on an acreage. So to me, it's a way for us currently to pay for what was done for us in the past. Somebody paid my way, paid for the things that I needed in school, and that is probably the simple, easiest answer, is that's why I support it.
All right, thank you. Luke.
Wow, how can I add to these wonderful responses? The last guy, jeez. Well, of course I support it. Being in the schools, I know what it takes, but let's just be real here. Any great community, its heart is a good, healthy school. And our community is healthy as it is today because of what we poured into the schools over the years. So I just believe that our schools are the heartbeat of this community, and whatever we can do to support them, the teachers need it. So let's get behind them. And I realize it's complex, and I know that there's a lot on the stake for a lot of people. So I carry that into this as well. I just don't go about this flippantly. So I want to make sure that we're communicating and understanding what this does impact with other people. So I support it, but I also understand. So.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting seeing the nods of agreement from all four candidates here as you spoke. So it's a common theme, I think, of those who are running for seats on our Board of Education. We continue with our forum again, thanks to our friends at Tonnabells and Thief River Falls Radio for bringing us our candidate forum. Again, we're electing 3 seats from 4 candidates for this position on our Board of Education in Thief River Falls. Lindsay Gregory, our next candidate, and we've kind of talked about the financial aspects, so now we're moving on. What do you identify as perhaps the top issues facing the district, number 1, and number 2, as if elected, what do you think you can do to fix those or to help fix those?
The main issue, in my own personal opinion, is communication. Before I started getting really into all this school board stuff and trying to find out more information, I really had no idea what was going on unless it just happened to pop across my Facebook feed or if I just happened to get something in the mail. If I get elected, I would definitely work harder at putting more stuff out there as far as social media goes, or even flyers or little mailers that go out, and just word of mouth. A lot of people know me and they listen to what I say because I kind of make it easier for everybody to understand, and a lot of people come to me for issues like that and ask me to explain it. So,
any other issues that come to mind?
Not offhand.
Okay. Thank you, Lindsay Gregory, with her response to that question. John Sievertson, who is a city member of the Board of Education, what do you identify as the top issues, and what do you plan to do if reelected?
Well, the biggest issue right now facing the school is funding, and I know we've already kind of talked about that, but when you cut $3.7 million from our budget in the past 7 years, that is going to be the biggest issue we have. But another issue we have right now is shortage of bus drivers. Even with cutting the 5 routes, we still don't have enough bus drivers right now. I mean, we barely have enough to get by. And our average age of bus drivers is over 60. So I don't say this to discount their quality and value to our schools because we have great drivers in our district, but more I mention this because we're going to eventually need to replace those drivers and get more drivers just to keep the routes we have. So I know I've spoken to a lot of people and telling them, if you have the slightest interest to get a hold of Ronnie Scal at the Transportation Department, because we will have a spot for you. Another issue, I guess, I mentioned it, or it's been mentioned before, but declining enrollment is an issue that seems to be happening statewide, but it's especially fragile time for us right now. We're graduating last year's 141 kids and bringing in about 85 kindergartners. And year over year, that's going to take a hit, and it's going to mean we might have some cuts just due to right sizing for that. But what we really want to do is make sure we're keeping the kids that we do have here. That has been increasing slightly, but we want to make sure that we have all the best offerings because I do feel that we have the best teachers. The Thief River Falls School District has so many amazing opportunities and the best staff. So, that's why I chose to send my kids there.
All right, thank you. Jared Gines, same question to you. What are the issues that you see, and what would you do if elected to work on those?
Well, we can have all kinds of grand ideas about what we want to do when we're elected, if we are elected. As John was saying, financially we are facing that's one of the biggest issues. We've already talked a little bit about it. But school bus drivers, that the 2-mile radius, it's a long ways for parents to figure out how to get their kids there. But finding people that want to work that split shift, the early morning and the afternoon, and find something to do in the middle of the day. I lived through it. My dad was a bus driver for 24 years, give or take, in the district. So I heard all kinds of stories from him over the time. I think from my work professionally as a therapist in schools, as I said, I've been in 4 different districts in the state of Minnesota, and the student mental health needs are continuing to grow. They're more evident now than they ever have been. But alongside that is the behaviors that the teachers and the paras are having to deal with in the classroom, finding the way to maybe get some additional supports into the district. Again, it's all about funding, finding the monies to put into those programs. I think class size is important, but that, again, is tied to finances. I think it all still comes back to that, unfortunately.
Back to the almighty dollar. All right. Thank you. Luke Stavos.
Well, I think, all of the above. Definitely transportation has become a sticking point for a lot of people of how do we fix that. But being in the classrooms, yes, mental health is something that I'm working with constantly. Every classroom has a couple of students who need help that, as of right now, there are some situations they're not getting the help that they need, and we need to definitely address that. And again, financially, that's a burden that we need to figure out how to cover. So, that's probably the biggest one that I see regularly is how can we support these teachers, because it's hard to teach when you have kids that are needing special attention that they're not getting. So, those are the 2 biggest, transportation and helping those teachers, and we can do that. We're going to have happy kids that are growing.
All right. Thank you, Luke Stavos. Well, now we give you an opportunity if you heard something from another candidate or you want to embellish or add something to a previous comment that you made, we'll give you each a moment to do that before we'll give a closing comment, and we'll give you an opportunity if you want to question somebody, if somebody has said something you want to question or that you question or want to bring up for a brief discussion, we'll give you an opportunity to do that. So, Lindsay, do you have any response to any of the other candidates or anything that was brought up?
I think after listening to the other 3 candidates that we all have the same goals in mind. We all have the same passion. We want our kids to have a good life in school. We don't want them to have giant class sizes, to miss out on that one-on-one time with their teachers. And we all want to keep our extracurriculars and everything. And I think any of us will be lucky to be on the board.
All right. Thank you. John Sievertson.
Yeah, I guess there's nothing specifically that was said that I would necessarily rebuttal. The one comment I would say is I know I have also heard communication is an issue before, and I do think the hard thing about communication is we are dealing with, things that can't be said either, right? It's kids, and it's, there are laws in place that we can't communicate all that I know some people want, and it's just what it is. It's for the safety of the kids. But for the most part, like Lindsay said, I mean, we're all kind of on the same page as far as what we want and our goals for the district, I'm sure.
Jared Kynes.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I do think that all of the discussion that has happened it's important for people to hear where we're coming from and what we are thinking. I also think it's important for some of the negativity that's out there in the community to maybe be corrected or answered to. You know, the lovely app of the chit chat and some of the negativity of blatantly coming out and saying vote no without really looking into the information. So my thing to the whole audience right now is educate yourself. Go on the tool, figure out what your taxes are going to be, and take a look for yourself and decide. You know, vote with where you're at with what you do, but have the knowledge that you need to actually make the informed vote.
All right, thank you. Luke Stabus. Anything you'd like to rebuff or add?
Can I just say, these people that are around this table right now, sharing their hearts with you, great candidates. Any of them would be fantastic to be in that chair, and I would fully support their being on the school board. And honestly, anybody who goes for a position like this, if they're going in for it in the wrong reasons, they won't last long. And so it comes with a lot of knocks being in the public eye. So kudos to all of you for stepping up and taking this. It has its drawbacks, but it's worth it for the kids. Right. And that's what it's all about. This is for the kids. So
thank you,
Luke.
you
guys.
Thank you. One final comment from each of our candidates here, and it's an open minute here to ask for the school district voters, ask for their support. So, Lindsay Gregory, who is one of the candidates, go ahead.
I would just ask the community to look into each and every one of the candidates. I myself have been out there trying to get people to know me, because I know a lot of people don't actually know who I am. And when they do see me, they just wonder why that 12-year-old has piercings. So I definitely want people to get to know me a little better, because looks are deceiving, obviously. I'm 35, I promise.
And on the radio, you're 6 feet tall, so
yes,
yeah, no problem there.
And I'm very passionate about this position. I already do most of the stuff that entails, and if I get the position, I'll be able to learn more myself and maybe be able to educate others as well, more than I already have been.
All right, thank you. Lindsay Gregory, one of the candidates for the open school district position. John Sievertson.
Yeah, if elected, I will continue to ensure that our kids are the main focus and that their success is the priority of the district. I'll continue to listen to community members and be available to them. I'll continue to be in the buildings and visit with staff and let them know that they are heard and valued. But finally, I'll be a good steward of the taxpayer funds to ensure the money is spent to the benefit of the students of Thief River Falls School District. Investing in our children is the best investment any community can make, because the dividends from that investment are so much greater than the cost. The school is the heart of the community. It was mentioned earlier. The school is the heart of the community, and our heart should be full of pride.
Thank you for your comments. Jared Kynes.
I think one of the things that I have maybe a little bit different than the other candidates, not that we're all not qualified to be elected and be on the school board, is I grew up here. I graduated from Lincoln, and so long ago I don't want to say the year. And my roots in the community run deep. My parents graduated from Lincoln. My cousins' kids, my own children will. Like I said, my wife is a fourth grade teacher at Challenger, and just we all have skin in the game, I guess, for the lack of a better way to say it. So yeah, I guess get yourself educated about not only candidates but about the referendum, and for that matter, every other election that's going on in November.
Thank you. And our final candidate joining us on the forum, Luke Stabus. Luke?
Good stuff. Thank you. Yeah, I'm here to serve. That's what I'm here to do. Here to serve the community. Here to serve the kids. Here to be financially responsible. That's what it's all about, to make our money go as far as it can. But really, it's all about the kids. how can we support them? How can we encourage them? How can we elevate them so that they can stand on our shoulders and go further than we ever have? And the future is bright. The future is bright. Don't lose sight of that. We have great kids in our school system, and I am so excited to be a part of that and continue to be a part of that, whether elected or not. I am there, and those kids, you're going to get to see Mr. Skittles show up again next week and have a party with them. Thank you so much. I appreciate this time.
Well, we thank our candidates joining us this afternoon, and look for their name on the November 5th ballot. Now just, 3 weeks away from Election Day. Thank you to Lindsay and John, Jared, and Luke for joining us today. Again, we'll have another forum for you tomorrow. We'll bring in Misty Hempel and Diane Lyon are scheduled to be here on tomorrow's edition of Team 1230 in our candidate forum. So that is our candidate forum for today, as we had an opportunity to visit with 4 candidates vying for 3 positions on the Thief River Falls Board of Education. And our candidate forum brought to you in part by Tonabells.